I spoke to one of my lawyers, and the guy tells me a good line. He says, I understand him very much, but you can tell him like this. Slavery was abolished a long time ago. You don't owe him anything. You owe him of what the deal and what you made,
But you felt that I guess pressure from him.
I felt tremendous pressure. Like basically, like I belonged to him. Like
you felt that way.
I felt that way, and he kept like in every conversation. It was always like
yo, I'm under you.
This, and and then it would become more obvious whenever we had meetings with other people. He would always like say, he would tell them like this guy was nothing. Like I made him. I had like 6, 7 projects.
You started buying them up.
With
the same investor, or different investor.
So in the beginning it was the same, and then as it started growing, I started taking from other investors, and that's when the first investor felt like, and this happens a lot in business, right? Because they feel that they made you. And rightfully so in a way, right? Because he gave me my first chance to, get into development. So
this guy Tony
gave me the first chance. So what happens is in his head, he believes like he owns me. And I remember talking to my lawyer, said, I have a problem. Like I want to venture out. I want to grow. And like this guy's giving me a hard time. I can't take from anyone else. I can only do with him. And
so there was a lockup period, or it felt like a lockup period where you couldn't go to somebody else.
I started feeling it wasn't officially, and I spoke to one of my lawyers, and the guy tells me a good line. He says, I understand him very much, but you can tell him like this. Slavery was abolished a long time ago. You don't owe him anything. You owe him of what the deal and what you made,
But you felt that I guess pressure from him.
I felt tremendous pressure. Like basically, like I belonged to him. Like
you felt that way.
I felt that way, and he kept like in every conversation. It was always like
yo, I'm under you.
This, and then it would become more obvious whenever we had meetings with other people. He would always like say, he would tell them like this guy was nothing. Like I made him. Like I did it. And it became more and more. At one point,
and you felt like putting me down.
And I was always trying to like circumvent it in a way, but like the more I was trying to circumvent, like the more he was like more leashes he wanted on me. Like
right. And how did you eventually get out of that? Or did you have to go to court?
So I wasn't able to get out of that, but I did start taking funds from others, and I did started doing more projects on my own. And yes, he started.
What did he start doing? I want to know.
It created a fight. He started. First of all, he tried to stop me. Tried to put lispendence on the new properties that I'm working on, because he claimed like it's impossible that you're not using any of my funds into this.
So there was a lawsuit.
There was a lawsuit trying anything and everything. It wasn't about winning a lawsuit, because I don't think he thought
he just tried to create leverage.
I don't think he thought he has a chance to winning a lawsuit, but he had enough, and the people that know the system very well know how to like just like put chains around you. Like real estate is very, very hard, and every day you have to jump through hoops, over bumps, and everything. And the minute you start just throwing legal stuff at you, like stopping and putting, and banks start calling, I mean, that messes everything up.
Oh, wow. So that was your first experience.
That was my first. This experience broke out like in 2009.
You started with him 2005.
In 2005 and 2009. And in the end, we had to settle up. Okay, these are your properties. You take this. This is this.
You settled up with him.
And I settled up. Actually, the way I settled up was that I actually gave away most of the stuff that I did. Like, I bought my freedom. In other words, now I can do whatever I want. I can do my own buildings. I can do my own things. And I can take money from whoever. So this it was worth like paying him off. Like, okay, you take the building, you take this, you take that. Let me.
Thank you. See you later.
Thank you. See you later.
So 2005. You had your first project, Pacific Blue. Within 3 years, you built a community.
A whole community.
And then in 2009, Tony and you split.
Yes.
And you bought your ticket out into becoming independent.
Yes.
That's really admirable. Actually,
it was worth it because the whole idea, what I wanted is to be able to, stretch my wings and do whatever, I feel.
And you were very local.
Create.
You were very local. You
Yes.
were very local.
And I followed the train line. I followed things that I felt like I can go now 4 or 5 blocks from where I just built.
Were you still teaching at that point or no? Were you still
No.
teaching?
No.
So
The first year I was like still taking on some clients and just slowly like getting out. But once I started, there was so much fulfillment.
Purpose.
Fulfillment in creating what I'm doing that like I was happy.
So you essentially got into a fight in a disagreement with your first partner, and before we move on, I wanted to know how were you able to traverse that? How were you able to navigate and negotiate that? Who were your resources that you went to make sure that you can get out of this actual thing? Because you and I didn't know each other. I mean, I was in law school at that point. But which resources did you harness to kind of get out of that predicament? Because legal issues are serious issues. They could bankrupt people.
Right.
So what did you use?
Again, and it wasn't it wasn't like today. You couldn't go on the internet and get today everything is so advanced. You can do so much research, so much in guidance. I didn't have that. No, it was local from people in the community that were advising me. But again, I didn't. It was different then because I didn't think I had a chance legally in beating them. Because of financials, like what it costs to get involved in legal, and I know, and I knew in the end, it's all about because the whole fight was all about the ego, that he owns everything, that he is. So in the end, the way I was able to is give his ego what his ego wants, and
let him go,
and go. I
what
realized.
Did he do?
One of the, I remember I was talking, I can't remember his name. I was talking to a lawyer and he was explaining and he said, I don't think you're so good in fighting. I think you're better in creating. So don't waste your time here. Like whatever's finish off, clean off, and go out and do what you do best. Again,
he agreed. That Tony agreed. He's like, give me this.
Tony, in the end, Tony agreed.
Did you mediate? Did you litigate?
We had a media. Basically, the mediation was I'm saying, okay, here's it's all you.
Was it in front of like a rabbi, or was it in front of what was it?
It was. In the end, the mediation was actually I reached out to actually some of his investors. I found out who his investors were that were giving him money for things, and I reached out to them and I said, can we sit down? Can we discuss?
And you sat down and you resolved.
I sat down and yeah, it was very easy. Once I sat down with him and I told him, look, this is what it is. This is the story. This is things. I'm here to work it out.
And he listened to you.
And he listened and he made it, yeah.
And you exited in 2009 from him.
I exited in 2000. I think that the exit happened 2010. In 2011, I started again.